should have checked. So I'll call the January 16th Board of Directors meeting to order. If I could ask Ginny to do our invocation today.
Shall we pray? Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this beautiful snow outside. As Jim just mentioned to us, it's filling up the lake, exactly what we've prayed for, Lord. And we're just so excited and looking forward to a great summer. We thank you for everybody that made it here tonight. Please be with everyone as they leave tonight and keep them safe. Keep the roads clear. And we also ask you, Lord, that we can work together as a team and that we can listen to your voice and that we can make sound, good decisions for Sandy Pines financially and for the park and the members. We thank you for being with us and being here and guiding us. In thy name we pray. Amen.
Amen. If you would stand me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Kimberly, if you would take roll call, please.
Corey Behrens. Rick Day. Here. Pat Dosma. Whoops. Colin Geibel. Here. Ginny Hager. Here. Kelly Johnson. Here. Craig Van Beek.
Here.
Larry Munger.
Here.
And Scott Wyman.
Here.
7 present, 1 absent.
All right. Next on our agenda is member comment, but I'd like to take just a minute, if you would give me some grace, just to say a couple things as we go into 2026. So as we go into 2026, there's a thing called culture and strategy. Well, there's a difference between the two things. Strategy is what you plan to do. It's strategy is it sets our decisions, our plans, our goals, organization. We want to set our desired things we want to achieve, kind of what the board does. We strategize, right? That's what we do. It answers questions like, what are we trying to accomplish? How are we going to get there? What steps are we going to take to do that? What resources are we going to use? Strategy is written down, right? It's plans, it's timelines, it's goals. There's metrics that we can measure it. The difference of it is culture. Culture is how people actually behave while we do that. Culture is shared attitudes. There's values, there's habits, there's expectations that shape how people act, especially when people aren't watching. It answers questions like, how do we treat one another? What behaviors are encouraged or tolerated? How do people respond to change or conflict? How we respond at times to things we don't hear, we don't like, or things we disagree with. In society, that's changed quite a bit. If Larry and I have a disagreement, my goal always is to be the water. As Larry talks to me and I shake the water, and how am I going to respond if I open it in front of Larry? Excuse me, Kelly. It's all right, I apologize. But if Kelly comes at me and I get upset, and he keeps talking to me and I don't like what he's saying and I disagree, and then this, can I open this in front of Kelly? You see what I'm saying? Do you see the difference? That's how we respond to things that we don't like and it's not our way. How do we respond back? We can always say, I just don't agree with that. But culture is an important thing. Culture matters. And there's a saying that says, as we do strategy, as we strategize, but if we don't do the culture piece of this, there's a saying that says, culture eats strategy for breakfast. So all the things that we do, that we make plans, if the culture is not right within the board, within the park, it's going to eat the strategy for breakfast, and we're not going to get anywhere. A great plan is going to fail because of a toxic culture, where a healthy culture can succeed even if the plan isn't perfect. And so culture is a very important thing. So as we go into 2026, this would be my ask for the board, for the membership, because we're all members, right? I challenge us to weigh these things when we react. How we react, the things we say, where we put the energy of our efforts for 2026. So I would just challenge the board and challenge everyone just to consider that of how you respond and how we carry ourselves in working on culture as much as we work on strategy and our vision. So thank you for giving me a few moments for that. We will welcome you up to the microphone to the left. Please state your name, and you are welcome to go up there and site number. So if there's no public comment at this point, remember at the end of the meeting, after the meeting's over, that's where you can ask questions and get responses. So the public comment now is just comments. There's no response from the board. But seeing none, we will continue on. Jeff, do you want to take 6?
Yes, I'd love to. Okay, new member sales or approvals from September 2025 through December 2025. In total, during that time frame, we had 50 total new sales. 32 took place in September, 12 in October, 3 in November, and 3 in December. The breakdown of that was 24 of those sales went through the for sale by owner process, 23 of those sales went through the sales department, and 3 of those went through the transfer process. So we had a total of 75 new members entering the park between September and December. Demographics on that, 2 in their 20s, 13 in their 30s, 13 in their 40s, 14 in their 50s, 24 in their 60s, 8 in their 70s, and a nice young man in his 80s came in to the park. So 75 total new members for Sandy Pines. And that concludes the sales and new member summary.
Thank you, Jeff. Brings us to approval of September 2025 and October 2025 minutes. Has everyone had a chance to read these over? Are there any corrections? We have a motion and a second. All in favor say yes. Yes. Any opposed, same sign. All right, brings us to finance. Kimberly?
Craig, can I take a step back? We needed a motion to approve the new members.
Oh, I apologize.
Yep.
That's my fault.
No problem.
I do need a motion to approve the new park members. If I could have a motion for that
So move, Scott.
in a second.
Support it, Dave.
Do you want to do a roll call for this, Kimberly, or can we just do? Okay. All in favor of approving the new park members from October 25 to December 2025, please say yes.
Yes.
Any opposed, same sign. That motion is approved. Now we get to finance.
Okay.
Okay, our Finance Committee meeting, we actually joined along with the Board of Directors to review our fiscal year end, September 2025, as well as the financial statements year-to-date from October through December 2025. We did have our financial review with our external accountants, who are Doran Mayhew, and they will be getting us our final adjusting journal entries. We have most of those. There's nothing major, nothing material. But what we've put together for Sandy Pines is a financial overview to try to make this a little bit reader-friendly. This will be posted in the footprints as well in a certain format, but just something to give you kind of our financial outlook and the way we see things and where we're at. So to focus on the September financial statements, our outlook for fiscal year end 2025. Want to start off that we are in a strong overall financial position. We're continuing to focus on our investment in our property and amenities. That's our highest focus here. Higher costs, you will see, did have a direct impact on the results this year. Our reserves, such as our cash and investments, they remain protected and that's more so for long-term stability. Next slide. So then kind of a brief financial highlight. This is, try to go through this a little quickly, but this is what we usually look at the end of the year end. So I usually share our overall results. Our total income ended at $9.32 million. So we ended $176.8 thousand over what our budget was expected. And this is total gross income. So our total operation expense, however, was $9.44 million. So we ended $408.9 thousand over budget. Therefore, that resulted in a net loss for our organization of $406.6 thousand. I do want to reiterate, we're a not-for-profit entity. We actually do budget at a loss. So our budget was expected to be a loss of $168,000, so we were below that. One thing to point out, though, is that after non-cash expenses, such as depreciation, we still had a cash flow increase of $274,000, so we are still in the positive there. Now, while this is still a cash flow gain from year to year, it is a little bit lower in prior years. There are a couple of reasons for that. Number one, like I mentioned above, our operational expenses did increase, but also we have reallocated some of that cash from our operational cash to our capital. So when our CPI is calculated at the end of the year and we allocate that to dues, before we were putting all of it to operational dues, and then when we needed it in capital, we were transferring it over, but then we lose the effect of the tax protection on that. So we're not taxed if it goes straight into capital. So we made kind of a strategic decision on that too. So you're seeing that change there. The snapshot of the balance sheet, our total assets are at $27.44 million, which is up from 25.85 last year. Total current assets, 7.55, which is up from 6.62 million last year. Our total liabilities ended at 1.29, which is up from 952,000 last year, so not much different. And our total equity is 26.15 million, which is up from 24.9 million last year. Then just below our cash and investments, our operation cash is at 3.78 million, which was up from 3.37 million in the prior year. And our asset replacement cash, we do have a little bit of a gain there from year to year. We're at 498,000 compared to 123,000 at the end of the fiscal year. Our Charles Schwab investment account is at 1.9 million, which is up from 1.83 million last year. Next slide. So some key performance highlights that I want to give you too on the revenue side. Our resort service income is at 5.65 million. So this ended 274,000 over what we budgeted. Sales and hospitality income was at 1.26 million, which was 116,000 over budget. Our retail center income was at 629,000. We were a little bit short there, about 80,000 under budget, but we're continuing to work on those areas. The retail area is new and they are still doing well, but an area that we will look at in the next year. Our main expense drivers, so these are the items that were over budget on the expense side. Utilities expense is at 1.2 million. That ended about 248,000 higher than last year. I do want the membership to know I did do a deep dive into that across the board, across the entire economy. The utility costs were up 8.8%. Ours fell about 9% overall in the rate increase, so that was an effect of it. There was an additional 13% increase when I dove into the numbers just on the usage of kilowatt hours. It was a hot summer. There are some people that have installed like mini splits. Mini splits add to that kilowatt usage too. So I actually dove in looking at the comparison of kilowatts used in 24 compared to 25. So both of those together actually did reconcile out and make sense of that increase from year to year. The general expense for Sandy Pines was at 730,000. So that was about 197 over budget. A lot of times when you look at the consolidated income statement, you'll see on the consolidated sheet general expense, and people ask what's in that. Those are items such as seminars, licensing, postage fees, professional services, our general insurance costs, and our bank and credit card fees. So those are costs of business just related to running a business. Our property tax expense was at $529,000 and ended $54,000 over budget. Depreciation was at $680,000 and ended $60,000 over budget. We continue to grow. We're going to see those increase as well. And then last, other operating expenses was at $1.61 million. That was $55,000 over budget. This is also another question I get asked, what's in other operating expenses? Those include specific expenses related to Sandy Pines, such as inspection expense, our tree removal, cost of repairing the docks, our Prox card expense, sticker expense, and the rest of that is all highlighted there. Then our other income and interest earnings, I'll highlight. Total other income is $173,000 at the end of the year, and we ended up $112,000 over what we had budgeted. So those are like their gains and losses on our assets, interest income on our bank accounts and investments, and more of that is highlighted below. But we can continue on. So next slide. So a summary of those highlights, the review of those highlights, our revenues remain strong overall, and we did end the year slightly above the budget. But the year end did end with a net loss, and that was driven primarily from those higher operating costs, especially utilities and general expenses. Cash and reserves remain stable, and total assets increased from year over year. So to put a little bit of a picture with this, next slide. Total assets for Sandy Pines is $27.4 million at the end of the year, and our total liabilities are $1.3 million. This shows financial stability for Sandy Pines that supports that our total assets substantially exceed our liabilities. And then one more next slide. Our asset growth over time. The total assets increased from $25.9 million in 2024 to $27.4 million in 25, and this is demonstrating steady financial growth. Next slide. So this is kind of a pie chart to show you the revenue side of things and where our money comes from. So 34% of the revenue that comes in is from our membership dues. 11% is from the assessment for cable and Wi-Fi. 9% is the recoup of member electric. 8% are the renewal items. 7% are general resort services throughout the park. 14% is hospitality and sales. And 13% is other income. So I'll just highlight the membership dues makes up 34% of our operational income. When you look at that in comparison to total operation expense, but I do want to mention that that minuses the golf assessment, which is a pass-through, and depreciation. Those dues cover 34% of our total operational expenses. Other income, because that's a little vague, those include things such as administration income, minus our stickers, our maintenance income, public safety, recreation, service charges, lake development income, lease operations, and retail operations. Okay, next slide. So then where is our money spent? The expense breakdown. 9% of our operation expenses park maintenance and upkeep. 13% is utilities, 11% cable and Wi-Fi, 38% is staffing. This resonates that we're a service organization, so it's highly related on staff. 5% is our property tax, 7% depreciation, and 7% depreciation and 17% other expense. Again, the entire total pie chart here, when you look at the financials to map that out, does exclude the golf assessment pass-through because that's a pass-through. But other expense, what those items are equipment expense, leases, auto expense, our cost of goods sold, telephone expense, sticker, newsletter, all those miscellaneous expense items that don't relate directly to those other areas above. And this will be posted for you to review later as well. Next slide. So then to review kind of a revenue versus expense trend from year to year, we looked at this from 2020 to 2025. Year over year, you can see that our expense trends are demonstrating consistent financial management. In 2020, our revenue was at 6.52, our expense was at 6.25. We continued to gain, and then in 2024, when we really saw the heightened expenses hitting within the areas, Another thing I want to mention is we did also add different amenities to our park that increased some of those expenses too. So we're kind of noticing a recoup on that the additional pressure on that. So in fiscal year 2024 is where we kind of notice we're about break even with revenue at 8.87 and expense at 8.91. And then 2025, we had the DOL changes, the extra utilities and things like that. Our revenue was at 9.17 compared to the expense of 9.57. So overall, this has been reviewed by our accountants, and they fully support the financial strength of Sandy Pines with this. The fear would be is if we don't see that revenue increasing and only the expenses. So we're still on a good trend. Next slide. And then this highlight here is our consumer price index, which you hear about. That is what resonates with our dues. So the value of our dues is marked to only increase by what CPI is as of March of that year. So whatever CPI for the Midwest index is as of March of this year is what the dues will increase by in October of this year. What this graph shows is we see a steady trend with our operational expenses, but when you look at the consumer price index, there isn't a steady flow to it, especially when you look at it at a March snapshot, because that's what the bylaws have us set at. So it was pretty low for a while, not really keeping up. We did have a spike in 23, but now as expenses are still going up, you can see that that's going down. So operational costs are rising faster than what inflation is, and highlights the importance of proactive budgeting and long-term financial planning going forward. So next slide. So then just to focus on the reserves and long-term stability, we are maintaining the strong cash and investment balances. Our focus is on setting funds aside for future capital updates, maintenance, and needs. We support emergency preparedness and protecting long-term affordability. Some key financial stability metrics I want to show here. I always mention our days cash reserve. At the end of fiscal year 2025, we're at 151 days. The daily operation cost of running this business on just a 1 day, obviously we have a lot of expenses in the summer. It's not consistent day to day, but if we took our total expense divided by 365 days, it's $23,000 to run this park on a daily basis. So our ideal target for a not-for-profit campground is between 90 and 180 days. We're at 151, so we're at a good spot. Focusing on that, that shows that we're responding well to seasonal cash flows with high summer revenue, low off-season. We respond to the offset of weather risks that impacts us. One bad season could create a shortfall. We also support emergent and unexpected repairs and responding to unpredictable vendor and insurance increases. So when general insurance goes up, we don't have control over that. We need to respond to that, and being within the 90-180 days is important. Our more conservative goal, which would be good to be at, is 180 to 270 days. That would help us support better being responsible for maintaining large capital infrastructure, which we do have here. Responding better to higher exposure to storm damage and emergency repairs, which we have seen. And responding to limited ability to respond to fee increases. This is where that CPI marker comes in. We're very limited with increases that we can do to support these offsets. So, and then last, supporting debt payments. So that goal helps support debt payments, which I do want to say we have been very good at remaining minimal currently within that. So even though we're not at that 180 to 270 days, it would be nice to be a little bit closer to that. And again, our membership dues fund about 35% of our annual operation expense. Ratios that I mentioned above are non-cash depreciation. They do exclude the non-cash depreciation expense. And again, as I mentioned before, a golf course assessment that you see is a pass-through, so that's not included in these metrics. So then looking ahead, our focus is on offsetting increased expenses with revenue opportunities, have efforts to improve the efficiency of our utilities and services. We want to continue to maintain our essential services and be responsible long-term with planning through a continued capital investment. And in summary, Sandy Pines does continue to remain a financially stable organization. We'll focus on maintaining and improving assets using the available resources We'll continue to demonstrate our financial stewardship and long-term planning, specifically with our upcoming capital investment review. And last, we'll remain committed to our members' best interests by providing an affordable, safe environment for lasting memories. So overall, that is my conclusion, and this was presented to the board as well. So this is for 2025. Thank you.
All right, thank you for the report. Any questions on Kimberly's report this afternoon?
When would we ask questions about the checks,
I didn't hear what you said.
papers that we get? When do we ask questions about the check statements that we get?
Check statement.
Questions when we ask about check statements.
Yeah, I mean, you can do it over email. Why, do you have a specific question? I mean,
Yes, I do. On the last check distribution papers you give us from the new company, there was an entry for Paul Peppo 3 different times, and I just wonder what those were for.
those are for reimbursement for social activity prizes. So Paul and Deb will go out, buy out of their own pocket social activity prizes and gifts, and then they get reimbursed for those.
Okay,
All right, any other questions? Seeing none, I need a motion to approve the financial report.
Support.
Kimberly, would you do roll call, please?
Corey Behrens. Rick Day.
Yes.
Colin Geipel. Jenny Hager.
Yes.
Kelly Johnson. Craig Van Beek.
Yes.
Larry Munger.
here.
And Scott Wyman.
Yes.
All right, thank you. I thought since it was financial stuff, we do roll call. Sorry if I did something different. Usually every time it's financial and other boards, you have to do roll call. So sorry, I'm kind of built in the mode. I apologize for that. So comments for me, I want to take just 1 second to remember Lon Arndt. So I don't know how many people here do remember Lon. He passed away last Friday. Lon was a maintenance supervisor here since the start of Sandy Pines, and even before he worked in this area when it was an onion field. And he retired in 2014. Lon Arndt is a big reason Sandy Pines is still here. He put a lot of time and his life into this place, and I just want to remember him and just, my condolences to his family with his loss. He had struggled with cancer for a while, and it's just difficult for them. But I thought I would share kind of one quick funny story. Did you know maintenance used to put floats in the parade? Did you guys know that? They did. Maintenance used to put floats in the parade. And so one of the floats that Lon had us do was we had taken a trailer and we had put a bunch of sand and grass on it, and then we put a riser in it that was broken with a golf cart parked on top of it. And then we had a water pump that was pumping water through the riser, spraying all over, and it was circulating, and we drove that through the parade. So it was a golf cart had ran over a riser. So if you weren't there when the risers used to be the way they were, people would run over risers all the time. And so it was kind of our way of saying, stop hitting risers. And so that was just something to see kind of his personality. And I just want to just take, if we can, just a moment of silence for his family, if we could. All right. Thank you, everyone. I appreciate it. It's a person that meant a lot to me, so thank you. Jeff.
We gotta do the rest of the financial.
Need
Oh,
to
I'm sorry. I thought you did all of it. I
Nope.
apologize.
go through the September Lake Monterey Golf Course and then the October through December. So, Kimberly, you want to keep going?
Yeah, I can. That's okay. That was the review. I know it was a lot, but that was the review.
I thought it was all of those. I'm sorry.
That's okay. So that was the review over Sandy Pines for September. The highlight for Sandy Pines, October to December 2025, is it's not as lengthy. We do see the increase in operation cash from the one year to the other. Our net revenue is at 3.8 million versus 3.6 million. So we're just shy of 200,000 over where we were last year. Going forward, we will have different financial statements. The ones you see posted are still going to be in the template from what we have in the prior one. We're still kind of formatting different things with the new system and the reports they're going to build. So really looking at this compared to annual budget is not really respective because we got a ways to go before we get the annual budget. And December 31st, though, does bring us 1/4 of the way through the year, which is hard to believe. So, and year to date, we are above budget. There aren't any areas that really stand out. Resort services, when you look at the consolidated financial statement, is where you're going to see the majority of activity, and that's because that's where their dues come in, as well as our electric recoup on the quarterly as of December. You'll see some expenses, some within salaries. We still have full-time staff through the park working hard, getting things ready for the new season. A lot of repairs and expense because in the off-season is when we can do most of that. But other than that, Sandy Pines overall from October to December is in a good spot and ready to get started.
All right, do you want to vote on these separately? Yes, all right. We can all vote by saying yes on this one, correct? Okay, any questions on the second piece, October to December? Seeing none, I need a motion to accept October through December 2025 financial statements. All in favor say yes. Any
Yes.
opposed, same sign. All right, motion stands approved. Continue on.
All right, so for Lake Monterey Golf Course, for September 30, 2025, we did end our year with a gain in the cash balance. We're at 905 as of the end of the year compared to 669,000. Our total income was a little bit lower than the prior year. We're at about 207,000 compared to 239, but still at a good spot. Our largest liability there with the golf course is our note payable to Sandy Pines, and that's at 255,825. Last year, we made a larger contribution back or payment back to Sandy Pines. This past year, we limited that to 25,000. We still wanted to make a payment to Sandy Pines for to show good effort, but one of our major focuses for the golf course going to the next year is going to be the irrigation system. So we wanted to maybe kind of pull back a little bit because we do have enough cash to try to absorb that along with our capital reserve that we have at the golf course. When you look at the revenue for the golf course, we were up overall in our total revenue, 865,000 compared to 859,000. Our cost of goods sold was up a little bit, and again, that's just the cost of things going up, but we did recoup a lot of that off some of the revenue. Memberships were up, our public golf play was up, so we saw a lot of good turnaround on the revenue side. Our expenses were up a little bit. We're at 586,000 year to date as of September 30, 2025 compared to last year, 549,000. And a lot of that, when you look at the highlights again on the consolidated basis, it's our repair and maintenance of the course, which really stands out. And that's just trying to respond to the needs of the irrigation system. So when we replace that, we'll see the operational expense go down a little bit. And on the salary side, we were able to maintain the increase there, but we were pressured with some DOL changes. But overall, we still ended at a good spot with the expenses there. And again, electric, you're going to see we were slightly over budget, 15,826 compared to 15,000 was our budget. So again, overall, our net income, we're at a positive net income of $270,519 for the end of fiscal year 2025.
All right, any questions on Lake Monterey Golf Course September 2025 end of year financial statement? All right, seeing none, I need a motion to accept.
So moved.
Second? We have motion and support. All in favor say yes.
Yes.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. All right, Kimberly, continue on.
And then October through December 2025 for the golf course, there isn't a lot to show here. It's been pretty quiet, but there are still expenses going through there because there's still repair, maintenance, not everything shuts down. So our total cash as of the end of December is at $817,000 compared to $577,000, so we're still ahead there. Our asset replacement cash, which we will utilize that for that irrigation system I mentioned, we're at $58,000 compared to $30,000 last year. And we will be pulling in an additional $54,000 with the golf assessment from Sandy Pines. Our net income at the end of December 2025 is a net loss of $99,000, and that's compared to a net loss of $90,000. So again, we're spending in, just on the repairs and maintenance and so forth, just upkeeping the park and utilities. So. But overall, we're at a good spot with where we expect to be as of the end of December 2025.
All right, any questions on the Lake Monterey Golf Course October to December 2025 financial statement?
Motion to approve as presented.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
Any
Aye.
opposed, same sign. All right, motion passes. Jeff, we'll give it back to you.
All right, thank you, Craig. Welcome, everybody, to our January 2026 board meeting. Yeah, it's hard to believe, as Kimberly stated, we're a quarter into our 2026 season. A lot of people forget about the off-season that we do things here. We've been busy working on the launch of the new financial system and the new point of sale. So thank you for your patience on that. We continue to tweak that as we go. We're starting already to see some of the benefits of that. We also, at the end of the year, if you remember, we do send out some surveys. We do take in write-in questions on areas to try and improve the upcoming season when everybody gets back. And so we've been working hard on those items. Some of them, again, you're seeing our expenses go up, so how do we try and offset some of that with some maybe new revenue ideas? So stay tuned. We'll have maybe some changes coming in 2026. One thing that doesn't change during the season is we still have activity in the park, and we have full-time year-round people. It's maintenance, myself, Kimberly, in the admin area. We have public safety, and we still, even though the park technically is closed on October 15, that's when the water is shut off, and you're not supposed to be staying overnight here based on the campground rules. We still have activity in the park, and we still have people in the park. We just want to be cognizant and just put some reminders out there. The rules still apply during the off-season. We've had a lot of speeding through the park. We've had a lot of, I'm going to blow through four-way stop signs. And then when we address this, the response is the park's closed, nobody's here, shouldn't matter. No, we still have to make this a safe place. So just want to, pass that along. And then another reminder for members, we've also seen a spike in the trash over at the dump and in some of our dumpsters where people are bringing trash from not inside the park, but from their residence. Actually had somebody last week that came up from Florida and brought trash from Florida and dumped it in the dumpster. This increases our expenses, and at the end of the day, we're all paying for those expenses. So please be fiscally sound and responsible, and we do have the rules during the off-season as well. Lastly, it's been a good off-season, so we're looking forward to, as Craig stated, a good 2026. We're looking forward to everybody getting here, and thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to attend.
Thank you, Jeff. So in old business, we have, when we voted for the officers in the fall, we didn't vote them in as a slate. We voted them individually. And historically, Sandy Pines has voted them in as a group after voting them individually. And so what we do have is Ginny is our treasurer, Rick is our secretary, I am the chairperson, and Scott Wyman is the vice chairperson. So I need a motion to accept the slate of officers, the executive committee. Do we have a second? Do you want to do this roll call, or can it be together?
Together, yeah.
Okay. All in favor of accepting the slate of officers executive committee for 2026, please say yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Any opposed, same sign. All right, thank you for helping me clear that one up. Jeff, the capital investment project.
Yes, thank you. So this is going to be a focus for 2026. This is one of the things that we've been working hard on during the off-season as well. If you remember, during last season, we had engaged a third-party engineering company, Whiteman, out of Allegan County. They do a bunch of capital, bonds for schools and municipalities and capital funds for multiple different industries. They went through, assessed our assets. We had a town hall with them, kind of presented, here's our red, yellow, greens. And our park is 54, going on 55 years old. So we're at the point where some of this stuff has been, kind of kicked down the road. The assets are starting to, depreciate, and we're going to need to address them. This is in response to our 10-year capital reserve, which is expiring at the end of our 2027 season. So we have received some survey questions to kind of gather all the information and send out to the membership so we can start collecting data. You're going to see a lot of activity on this during the 2026 season, multiple town halls, the surveys. We're going to have our cross-functional team that has finance committee members, board members, long-range planning members on to review these questions. And then the board will review these questions. The plan is to get these out. Target would be next week, realistically, probably the following week. Let them sit out there. Please, 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 when you see these, a rave will go out. Take some time and go through this. This is important. This is investing our future in the park. Once we get those results back, we'll share them with the membership. And then this is really what do we want to prioritize, and then we need to start assigning costs to those, and then what does this look like on a per membership basis. So this is going to be a methodical process throughout the year in an attempt to try and get a ballot approved by the board and on the election process this summer. We want to try and get it 12 months ahead of before this thing expires. So please take some time and review that. Thank you.
All right, brings us to Safety and Security Committee.
Yes, so there's a motion out there to add a new member to the Safety and Security Committee. Her name is Pat Pike. She met with the Safety and Security Committee. They approved her, they like her, so now we need a motion from the board to move forward and officially adding her if the board is in line with that.
So moved.
Support.
All right, we have a motion to approve Pat Pike and the new safety, new member to the Safety Security Committee. All in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
Any opposed,
Yes.
same sign. That motion passes. And I do want to say thank you specifically to anyone that serves on any committee, helps out in any form, fashion, that donates their time and their skill. The board appreciates it greatly. So thank you.
Amen.
Jeff, 2026 renewals.
Yes, everybody get the rave. 2026 renewals open up this week. So please, again, take some time to go out there and go through your renewals. We've really worked hard on trying to make this pretty easy and automate it. So far, it sounds like last year went well. This year is going well also. To date, we have 371 members that have already gone in and completed their renewals for 2026. Thank you. That's 70% of the membership, so thank you again. When you go through there and submit them, there's an approval period. It goes back to us. Then we have to acknowledge your acceptance, and then you should get an email letter showing what your 2026 renewals are. And it appears to be going well. We do have 3 top items that are hitting our member service desk, so we just want to pass these along as well. Number 1, our boats. So on the personal property area, you will have boats, kayaks, things of that nature, specifically on a boat. So again, our 2026 season starts in October, and your boats are assigned to your boat stakes. So if you go in and remove your boat from your renewal, the rules state you need to have a boat assigned to your boat stake. If not, you have the potential of losing that boat stake. So we've seen some of those come into member service. We've flagged them, and we've had members say, "Oh, I didn't want to do that. Sorry." So just be cognizant of. We have 2 uses for our boats here at Sandy Pines. 1, the fun and recreation on the lake, and 2, holding your boat stake so you don't lose it. You need a registered boat with member service to keep that boat stake. So please don't overlook that. Item number 2 is I forgot my login information. So please give me my login information. Member service can provide your user ID, but we do not have your password. So you can get that reset at member service, but they will have to send a link. Before you call member service, though, there is also a forgot my user ID or forgot my password on the portal out there. So you can click on that. It'll ask you for your email, and it'll send you the link yourself. So it could save you a call. So please take a look at that. And the last one for renewals is pump outs. So there's an option there to change your pump out. We're seeing members change from, like A to B or whatever. They are removing their pump out plan, and that can be a problem because then you don't have a pump out plan. Then members are trying to add that, which technically the system will allow you to remove A and add B, but it will not build your schedule in the system to have the pump outs done on a regular basis. So I may or may not be looking at some individuals in the audience right now, but that's you're not the only ones. That one's been popped up a couple of times. So other than that, renewals are going well. So thank you. Keep it going. If you got any questions, Nicole's happy to help you at member service.
All right, is that everything for?
That is everything for renewals. Thank you.
Okay. Brings us to our board of director vacancy. Pat Duzema ended up kind of a change of life, some things she wanted to do a little bit different, and sold her membership here in the park. So by the rules, as soon as your membership is sold, you come off the board. Pat knew the sale was going to happen, so she wrote a letter and stepped down from the board. But I do want to thank Pat, because Pat was always very engaged and had good comments and was, I felt, a wonderful board member. for us. So I want to thank her. But that brings us to filling it. So when we looked at filling it, there's three options in our bylaws of how we can fill that. And so that one doesn't have to go before the other. There's just three options that the board has to choose from. One, we take the person from the last election that got the highest votes that was not elected to sit on the board. That's one of the options. The other option is, the second option is we can ask the membership to put in resumes that the board can look through, and we can appoint one of those. And the third one is where the board can just choose somebody to appoint. Is that correct, Jeff? I want to make sure my language is correct.
Close. Yes. So you can take the next highest vote getter. The second option that you're referring to is actually calling a membership meeting to elect somebody for the remainder of the term. That's where people would send in their resumes and ask for consideration. And then the third one is the board can appoint somebody.
Okay, yeah, thank you. So I want to make sure, so when this happened, I asked Jeff to reach out to legal to make sure what options we were able to use, because I want to make sure the board makes the decision that aligns with our bylaws, right? That we don't do something we're not supposed to do. I want to make sure we do it right.
Can
And
I add one thing to that?
Yeah.
I believe the other option was to do nothing.
yes, Ginny is correct. The other option, there is another option too, where we do not have to fill the spot at all. She is correct on that. I'm sorry. You are correct. And so it gives us some options of what to do. And so we've had some time to think about it. So what I would ask is if someone has a direction they want to go for a motion for that, a second, and then we'd have a discussion.
I make a motion, we appoint Paul Peppel to fill the board of director vacancy.
Do we have a second for that motion?
I'll second it, Scott.
Any discussion?
Yes.
Go ahead, Larry.
All right. I think Paul is the poorest choice you could make. Paul has served 6 years on the board, and by our bylaws, he cannot be elected back to the board for another year. So it's 3 on, 6 on, 1 off, and then you can run again. But Paul is being able to get back on the board because Jeff had the lawyer take a look at it, and he found a loophole that he's not being elected, he's being appointed. I think it's wrong that we use a loophole to put someone on the board because it's against what we should be standing for, is not make special arrangements and look for loopholes and bypass the meaning and the will of the bylaws.
So, Larry, thank you for your comments. Everyone is always welcome to share how they feel on this board. I'll always make sure, as your chair, that everyone can share how they feel. I know there was some accusations inside of that I don't know if they hold merit. Jeff, if you want to address some of that, I think
Yeah,
you may, if you'd like.
I would love to address that. So, quite candidly, Larry, you're not accurate on the direction of what the bylaws can and can't do. Number two, my job from an operational standpoint is to watch over the park, enforce the rules, protect the park, and then when the board has questions, provide options per our rules, bylaws, and sometimes that means reach out to legal. So it's not a loophole, it is in our bylaws. Our bylaws state that you cannot have 2 3-year consecutive elections on a ballot elected as a board member. This is not an election. And that's one of the options that the board was provided. Because you do not like it, I take exception to the allegations that you saying that it's a loophole and it's been fabricated.
It's not been fabricated, it exists. And I had never considered it, and all the times I read that possibility existed, because that's a big, major thing. If the original writers of this bylaws was that after 6 years of service, they take a year off, then by allowing someone to be appointed is trying to do an end run around giving them a year off.
So again, I do appreciate the comments, but as I said, we did reach out to legal to make sure that all the options were viable, that we're not breaking any rules. So there's always the option to, for the board to bring forward something to change the bylaws, to clear up some of the language that Larry has spoke about that he does not care for. So that's always an option in the future to look at that. But Larry, thank you for your comments. Anyone else want to weigh in on this? Jenny?
Not specifically Larry's, what he brought up, but I just want the membership to know that we took a lot of time to discuss and look at this. We have a big year coming up. We have our capital investment project to work on. And one of our reasons for bringing someone that was previously or maybe very recently on the board was that they can hit the ground running. They can come in, they know what's been going on over the past few years. To bring in a brand new board member, they don't have any background, they don't have, and I'll speak from experience. My first year on the board, you are absorbing and learning, and we love that, don't get me wrong, that's wonderful. But this is not the time or the year to have someone come in for an interim position that really isn't going to benefit and bring a lot to our meetings and things during this short period of time. So that was kind of, at least in my mind, and I think a lot of our discussion went around that, and that's how we landed on somebody that was previously on the board.
Thank you, Jenny. Kelly would like a moment, if you could.
Yeah, I'd like to echo what Jenny just said, and just add one more thing. We looked at the time frame, and we're, 6 months away from another election, and to try to bring everybody up to speed in 6 months is basically impossible. And so we decided that it might be best for the park and best for the members to have more experienced individuals that can help us with those decisions we'll be making. So it's just a short time frame, and then they will have to go back, whoever's elected will have to go back into the election the following year if they so choose.
Anyone
I'd like to
else?
make an exception to what Jenny had to say.
Go ahead, Larry.
Thank you. Jill Grunt, I guess that's how I say her last name, has lots of experience. She's a CPA for plus 30 years, and she served more than 6 years as an officer on a board of an educational institution that has a budget of over $90 million, which is 10 times as much as Sandy Pines. So she has plenty of experience and knowledge in how to do budgets and gain money. And to say that she doesn't have the experience and can't jump into it, I think that's a wrong assumption.
Jenny, would you mind just kind of expounding a little bit on what you were talking about, just for some clarity, maybe?
Yeah, I didn't mean somebody that isn't knowledgeable or has a lot of experience. What I should have clarified, and I would like to clarify, is experience as a board member at Sandy Pines. Okay, that's every board and every financial, every business is different. And I can speak for that. I've been on financial boards for many, many different nonprofit organizations, and everyone is extremely different. So I didn't mean to disparage anyone saying that they weren't qualified or whatever you were interpreted, Larry. So sorry about that. I meant specific to Sandy Pines, the background
All right.
and knowledge. So sorry about that.
Yeah, and I know it was not simple. These decisions aren't easy, but I truly believe everyone on this board, whether we agree every time or not, votes what they feel is the best interest of Sandy Pines, right? That's the biggest thing. And so, myself personally, I think with all the things that we have going on, the things that we have to tackle, the decisions we have to make, Paul is nominated by Rick, has a lot of that working knowledge, has been here, has been doing some of this stuff. And so I always want to put the right people in the right place, doing the right thing to do better for the park, right? And so I feel that that's, and just this is just my opinion, I feel that's the right direction to go for that short window. So that's kind of how I feel. All right. Kelly has called the question. So the motion is, would you read the motion one more time, please? You have it?
I have a motion by Rick Day to elect Paul Peppel for the one remaining term, and a second by Scott Wyman.
And the second was from who?
Scott Long.
All right. Kimberly, if you do roll call on this one, please.
Yes. Sorry. Okay, Rick Day.
Yes.
Corey Behrens. Absent. And then Colin Geibel. Yes. Jenny Hager.
Yes.
Kelly Johnson.
Yes.
Craig Van Beek.
Yes.
Larry Munger.
No.
Scott Wyman.
Yes.
All right,
Okay.
motion passes. So we will be reaching out to him. As I said before, it's okay to vote no. It's okay to disagree. It's okay to have vigorous conversations. Those are all okay things to have, right? We're never going to always agree. But now as a board, the goal as a board, when the majority of the board has spoken, the expectation is for board members to come together and to do the best we can with that decision, right? Is not to be negative and to move forward. So I would always ask the board to consider that their role as well, to work as a team, because we're not going to get anywhere if we don't work as a team. I believe that brings us to our last member comments. Do you want to start with the online ones, or do you want to have people come up? Jeff, what would you prefer?
Yeah, do we have any comments out in the audience they want to step up?
Are these comments that can be questions, or? Usually you're adjourning first and you're doing questions. Are you changing the order here?
Yeah, you're right, Larry. This is a little bit of a flip that we did. So we can adjourn and then go to questions and comments, or we can do questions and comments now. We have a late group, so.
Yeah, let's adjourn this one. Let's
Okay.
keep the same format. The
Yep.
lineup on our agenda is a little bit different, but if we have a motion to adjourn our meeting.
Support.
All in favor to adjourn, say yes.
Yes.
Any opposed, same sign. All right, we stand adjourned. So now we'll do member comments. So if anyone in-house, you can go over to the microphone, let us know who you are, your question. And this is more of the back and forth format.
Is there anybody going to come up?
Someone's coming to the microphone now, Larry.
Hello? Hey, Jim Buchanan, Lot N8, as well as the condos. See, Kelly, I can say that now. I got both. Anyways, just overhearing your conversations about who can come on and add value to the board. I just appreciate everything you guys do, how you talk about it, and how you make sense and clarified it, and I fully support you guys. So just want to let you guys know, I'm glad you have the park's best interest and that it can be told. I've been here now for 2 years going to the meetings consistently, and you guys are doing a great job. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jim. All right, I'll have a write-in question here. Connie from Site 5332, she did ask, and this is a little bit of redundant, but should have pulled this one out earlier. So she was asking, if someone leaves the board, what is the procedure to replace that person? So we've already talked about that, but if you want to review that procedure, It is on page 65 of our Sandy Pines Rules Handbook and Regulation bylaws. It's Article 8, Board of Directors, Section 7. So, two options, fill or not fill. And then if you choose to fill the vacancy, appoint a member, take the next highest vote getter, or hold a special meeting of the membership to elect for the remaining term. So thank you, Connie, for that question. Did respond to her in writing, and she did respond back, thanking us for responding. Question number 2, Dennis at site 318. My concern is that the campground is open until October 15, but a lot of the services, stores were closed shortly after Labor Day. There are still a lot of people here in the park until 10:15, and they tried to turn my water off 4 days early. Maybe we can keep the place open closer to the dates that are advertised. So, response to Dennis is, yes, the park is technically open until October 15, but a lot of our amenities, rec, the dairy dip, a lot of those amenities are staffed by kids in school, college kids, kids in high school. They start rotating off the middle of August. So that's where you start seeing, some of the pools getting, stressed with, can we open them, can we not open them? The dairy dip, we haven't changed anything different with the dairy dip from when the previous owner had it versus Sandy Pines the last 2 years. We order at the same time to try and ramp down inventory, and it was just a hotter season, so we ran out of food there, ice cream, and the individual that actually runs that dairy dip, she's ran it for 25 years, and she actually works in the school system. So the person that is responsible for all that has to rotate out and go into the school as well. A lot of our seasonals in the retail center, the restaurant, the cafe, park and garden, the store, they're members here at Sandy Pines, and a lot of them start rotating off around October 1st. They start heading south early. So with that being said, that is one of the things that came at the end of the year was how can we try and make this happen? We did present some information to the board during our work session with brainstorming on how we change some of these operations and maybe make this happen. But it will come down to staffing it. We need people to physically open the doors, watch the pools. We cannot have no lifeguards at pools. So we're working on it. We're going to try and make it happen. But if anybody out there watching or anybody in the audience or anybody that sees the recording, if they know of somebody that is willing to stay and help support some of these amenities and services, we're more than likely going to start sending out from our HR department right after 4th of July, looking for people to man and staff and get hired for some of these areas so we can keep them going. So thank you for that comment. We are working on it. We try to work on it every year.
Jeff, can I jump in for one?
Sure.
So someone did ask in one of our meetings, is that something, and I had responded that, yes, the board's going to look at that. And so I thought we had a great conversation the other day, just throwing out ideas. I thought a lot came from that conversation. So I just want everybody to know that the board heard you, and we're trying to work through that. So there are hurdles to get through with staffing and some of those things, but we are actively doing what the people asked us to look at. Like I said, I thought we had a really good conversation and great input from everybody.
Agreed. Thank you. Patty at site 1121, her comment, writing question is, all members are required a membership gate access card to enter the park. Why do we have to pay a $5 each for the renewal? Shouldn't this fee be included in our dues, not in a renewal fee? So our bylaws, again, are set up where the dues and assessments are separate from the fees. The cards are recognized as fees throughout the park. Not every member has a card. You have associate cards, rec cards, and then you don't want to commingle those fees, expenses with the dues. The dues are, here's what the dues were. They're adjusted by COLA, CPI basically, and then we can track that. So we show the membership. We're not adding things into the dues that they don't know about or haven't voted on. And then the assessments are items that the members do vote on through ballots and things of that nature, unless it's an emergency assessment from the board, and they have special regulations on how that makes how to have that take place. So we can't commingle those; they have to be kept separate. Good question, though. Thank you. And those are the only questions I have.
All right, I got a question now, Jeff.
Sure.
All right, I'm going to read a bylaw here first. This is Article 8, Section 10, and it says action without a meeting. Actions of an emergency nature may be taken by the board without a formal meeting, provided that a majority of the board approves such action orally or in writing prior to its taking effect. And such action is confirmed by an affirmative vote by the majority of the board at the next regular board meeting. The action taken must be filed by and with the secretary of the board, and copies made available to members of Sandy Pines. We did a closed meeting and voting by email last November. And in your highlighting the things that have to be done, number 7 says ratify this motion and seconded the vote and the decision at our next regularly scheduled board meeting in January 2026 in a closed session. So if we're supposed to do it this meeting, why didn't we have a closed meeting to vote on this in a normal fashion?
Larry, I have no idea what you're talking about. I'm sorry.
I can tell you the details of the meeting we were voting on, if that's what you'd like.
I mean, I don't have any issues having this yeah, we can have this conversation afterwards, but I don't know what you're referencing.
It was supposed to be disciplinary, and I thought being a closed session is supposed to not be spread out, but I'm more than willing to tell you the details so you know what I'm talking about. So did you forget that you had to do a closed session, or?
No, Larry, I know when to do a closed session and when not to do a closed session. We had a closed session in October for a disciplinary issue, a legal issue, or member action against a member, and the bylaws state we have to do that. And that was a regularly scheduled board meeting that was sent out with an agenda per the bylaws, no less than 48 hours prior to the 72 hours, excuse me, prior to our meeting. So, no, I know when to call an open session and a closed session, but I have no idea what you're actually talking about right now. So if we want to talk afterwards, I have no issues having the conversation.
Yeah, so I would say for all the board members, if there's questions like this, try to get these if you can, and Larry may have just realized this, so I have no idea, but try to get those to us as soon as you can going forward, so we can make sure we're on the same page with it and not at the end of our agenda in member comments. Probably not the best place to do it, but try to get those to us as soon as you can so we can definitely look at that. But Jeff, if you can make sure you can catch up with Larry to make sure if we didn't miss anything and if he's right.
Yep, I can follow up with Larry, not a problem.
All right.
I don't think we have any additional questions from the membership, so.
All right, enjoy your ride home in the snow.
Yeah, be careful on the streets. It
stopped? The snow
still a little
stopped?
slick out. Thank you.
All right. Yeah, thank you everyone for coming.